Peace, peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now, I'm gonna talk about go into crystals. Just the many different details, but I think about one area that I never really touched on strongly. That I want to touch on a lot on this video, but dealing with how the quality of a crystal goes into the vibration, the size of a crystal go into the vibration, how it's formed, you know, uh, like the difference with rough crystals, geodes, all the different vibes that come with that. So we're gonna kind of get into that. Poison blue angel, blessings, blessings. Matter of fact, you got different types of crystal styles as far as like, you got like the tumbled crystal. You could have a crystal in like like orbs or like circles. Matter of fact, some magnetic hematite, which is a very, very good crystal. You could have some crystals, with a little raw design, some serpentine, nice piece of serpentine. But you have it's another form. That's basically all the examples I got, but we're gonna get into other because you also got agate slices. If you ever seen like a flat piece of agate or agate. I got a big piece of crystal quartz right here. A piece from Arkansas. You got a nice little point. But you see my little camera ain't too hot. The point hiding under that perfect point. But so with the quality of crystals, we're gonna start in that area. A quality. Matter of fact, we as I'm getting into the information coming from the notes, and I'm also be getting into this book that I always let y'all know that I be using. Uh, but the quality, stone is defined as as quality. Let's see. I be writing stuff. Excuse me, y'all. Apology. Yeah, a stone is defined as something with quality if it displays the typical characteristics and qualities in the most obvious and clearest manner. So like a quality piece of quartz, a quality piece of amethyst, say for instance, you know, uh, would be very dark in its color, like something that would allow for you so the qualities become most obvious, where you could really see that it's purple, or when you're dealing with, a ruby, where you could really see the red and really see, the color within it, Or you could have yourself, say for instance, if you're dealing with moss agate, which is not really necessarily agate, because agate mostly deals with crystals that have lines in them. Say for instance, a piece of carnelian is an agate more than moss agate, if that makes sense. Because matter of fact, again, my little camera quality, not too hot, but it's carnelian. You could see the little lines in it, you know. But again, moss agate, matter of fact, which has a lot of magnesium inclusions, which moss agate is basically indirectly like bloodstone, except bloodstone doesn't have as much microcrystalline quartz in it, but they almost basically the same thing. But with that being said, like I know I got me a quality moss agate. The more green inclusion, like the more magnesium inclusion and iron inclusions I see, you know, and again, the more the quality is obvious and in a clear manner, so you really see like, how you get some moss agate and it really look like, in which I thought it was actually moss in there, but not just magnesium inclusions. As a matter of fact, to the point where the difference between our blood and chlorophyll is like basically they almost almost basically the same identical molecular structure, except we got iron in the middle of our chemical, in the chemical structure of our blood, and then and chlorophyll has magnesium, which makes that green, and then and again talking about elements, and they also give color to certain crystals as well, because you got iron that gives color, the red color to crystals, magnesium, manganese that mostly gives a pink or purplish lavender color to crystals, so that all goes into it. And again, before I even get deeper from right there, how do crystals work? In the essence of, just starting from a place where I always tell everybody, first off, everything is vibrating, like it's, scientifically proven that, everything went, say for instance, as much as I'm, this crystal looks still in my hand, like it's not moving. If you go deeper into, the cells and the molecular structure, or not say the molecular structure, you go deeper into the cells and the atoms of this crystal, you'll see that everything is vibrating. And with everything, if when something is vibrating, that means it's pulsating and giving out some. Uh, Whether you could hear the sound or not, it is giving off a sound wave. And there's in a sound wave in essence is also an energetic wave. So as it's vibrating, because one might ask, well, like how this crystal works on me, with it just being on the outside of my body. Well, again, it is vibrating, and just like a car could pass in front of this house and have loud music, but a picture inside this house could fall off the wall, beating down the block, knock the pictures out the, you know, the vibration from the sound actually affects something inside this house, even though that car is outside the house. Like how that car knocked down that picture inside the house. Well, that same correlation, dealing with the in essence the vibration of that sound, But again, the vibrations of these crystals and with them having certain elements in it, certain elements give off certain vibrations, and we're gonna get into that a little later. I'm gonna go through the different elements. So, and I'm trying to think about something else. Like if you got a clear, so say if it's a clear quartz, as far as quality, you have a quality clear quartz. I mean, look at the main name for one, clear quartz. So if you got like a quartz that look a little milky, meaning it's kind of like I don't know if I have one right here. Well, this is kind of like a milky quartz in essence. When I say milky, as far as like all parts of it is not extremely clear. They have parts and points on here that's clear, but for the most part, it's kind of like just a milky, quartz. So the quality is not considered as high, And a lot of times too, like say for instance, just because this is not a clear quartz doesn't mean it's giving off a vibration that's beneficial to me and that's gonna help me. Uh, but that a clear quartz does also, like say for instance, the more quality to a crystal as well as like the clearness and the vibration it gives off, and that's also with raw crystals as well. But again, just because it's milk, it don't mean it's not gonna do its job. But uh again, the clear quartz, not only is gonna be good on the eyes, it's gonna be good to look at, but it also is giving a vibration that's a little higher. That's why it's so clear. It doesn't have any inclusions, slowing down this vibration, so to speak. Matter of fact, and as above, so below. It doesn't have any inclusions slowing down this vibration. Inclusions mean something inside the crystal. We are walking crystals. Whenever we put too much inclusions, aka food, in our crystals, it lowers the vibration of our crystals, aka us, our body, our souls within this body. You know. And again, yes, you get a more intense effect from quality crystals. And too much of the matrix are inclusions that aren't a part of the oh, I'm spitting a little rude. And when you, so I just finished saying this, but like also when you have too much of the matrix, meaning like the area that, matter of fact, so this would be considered like the matrix, you know, like the part of the ground that it kind of really come from out of, you know, the physical part that it was grounded. Like if it has like a big chunk of the mate, well, it's mostly, say for instance, if I crack this crystal, I could get like, well, a clear part of it could be, you know, of a high quality, but then if I like was say for instance selling the part of it that's close to the matrix, you know, it's of a lower quality because it displays less of the obvious characteristics of the, you know, the crystal quartz. You know, again, it got to be obvious, you know, just obvious, clear manner, you know, compared to like say for instance I'm working with this crystal right here, and I'm still, you know, working to figure it out. I could tell it has mica inclusions because mica gonna look like little sheets, like almost like a drywall, not say drywall, but almost like a sheetrock type of vibe, like in which they use mica in like the in between walls and stuff when they building houses and stuff. Blessings, y'all, blessings, blessings. But again, the quality does go into the crystal. So say for instance, you got rutile quartz. You know, it's gonna be a high now. Oh, now this is like a, how can I say, depending on the crystal again, because sometimes like say even crystal quartz, a clear crystal quartz, you know, inclusions is not what you're looking for. Like you don't want any inclusions. But say for instance with a super 7 or rutile quartz, the more evident that the inclusions are, you know, the more of a quality crystal it is, you know. Again, again, which you barely could see in it, but you know, Super 7, I could see the rutile in it. I could see the red what do you call it, lepidocrocite. You know, I could see that in it. So that means it's quite a comparative. I got a piece of Super 7 that has these 7 different crystals in it, but it only looked like a regular piece of amethyst, you know, and that's a low quality Super 7 crystal, you know. And again, like with rutile quartz that has the little you know, titanium rods in it, you know, and especially with golden rutile quartz, you know. But when you get rutile quartz, is of a better quality, and in two ways, because it is quartz, so you do want, you know, your quartz to be clear, but also, you know, you want the rutile to be shown, you know, to where you could see, because, you know, matter of fact, because rutile is little thin hairs anyway, so, you know, it would be of a low quality. Like if I gave somebody a rutile quartz and they barely could see the rutile, like, you know, it's almost to the point of not even being the rutile quartz, you know, without the rutile being so evident, you know. So that's little different things in the quality area. I know as I'm going through this other information, stuff will pop up, but I'm not gonna dwell in that area too long. We'll come back to it. You know, you also got size going into the crystals, you know. The larger crystals does have a stronger effect than smaller crystals. You know, the power of radiation being increased by mass, you know, and let's see, and effectiveness at a distance is also increased. So like say for instance, you know, like this, matter of fact, I'm talking about matrix. You got the matrix kind of at the bottom, but like this little flat slab of crystal quartz right here, you know, because of the size of it, you know, with it sitting in a room, you know, that's gonna radiate, you know, and I haven't got into the science of that, but I would, you know, something tell me that at least a 12-foot radius around this crystal, you know, as far as like that's how far the energy goes out, and if you're in a 12-foot radius of this crystal, you can feel its energy. And I'm just giving a small. It may it may go out a little more than that, you know, compared to the with, you know, a piece of goshenite, you know, goshenite this small, you know, that's only gonna cover, you know, a smaller area. And again, everything is no black and white to this either, you know, as far as above, so below. Just like with us having different, you know, we're being mixed with all kind of ethnicities and all this type of thing, ethnicities. But you know, these different inclusions, you know, cause say for instance, this Goshenite, you know, does have a higher vibration than that big piece of quartz I had, and in close range, this Goshenite would actually, say for instance, could be felt just as quick as that big piece of quartz. Say for instance, because that quartz is a milky quartz kind of has a slower vibration, which means it kind of takes time for that crystal to, you know, to actually work. But the Goshenite, like that, the higher the vibration of the crystal, you know, the more effective it is right there in that moment. That's why most agates or agates, however you like to say it, you know, they work on you over time. Like, you know, you definitely want to have an agate, you know, be working with an agate for like at least a month or more, you know, because it takes, you know, it's a gradual energy, you know, compared to like some high vibrational crystals that just got that zing, you know, and start, you know, you could feel its effectiveness more because of its high vibration. You know, its high vibration could be felt a little more. But it all depends, you know, because certain crystals have different, you know, vibrations. So, you know, it wouldn't just be like, oh, so this crystal, just because it's bigger, like I could have a big piece of, trying to think of something, like a piece of hematite this big and a piece of moldavite this big. That piece of moldavite this big in most cases are kind of, you know, you will feel the vibration of that moldavite more than that hematite. But another thing too, some crystals work on us in a subtle way, where, you know, even though it's working on us, the characteristics is not obvious, you know, for us to catch on to. You know, so that's another thing as well. So again, the larger the crystals, the stronger the effect of them. You know, because again, it's just the science of you know, the power of radiation being increased through mass. You know, the bigger it is, the more of an area. You know, the more of that elements in that crystal. You know, so the more that energy is radiating. You know, kind of like having one crystal quartz compared to a pile of 1,000 pieces of crystal quartz. You know, and as above, so below. You know how it strengthens numbers with our vibration. You know, the collective consciousness waking up on this plane of existence right now. You know, and the vibration raises or go down by the majority count. You know what I'm saying? And again, also by the strength of the crystals. Because again, a good example on some as above, so below, where, you know, the majority of the world, in essence, may be, in which I think it's shifting more and more as I speak. I think now the majority of the world, like if you had to do a percentage, I think like 51 of the world, 51% of people on this planet have idea that things ain't what they were always told. You know, so that's a good place. But just to say though, like the people who unawoke though at one point in time outnumbering people who, you know, are awakened to this energy, but yet like they may outnumber, but our energy is so high vibrational and strong that as long as we stay persistent in our vibration, you know, again it spreads outward. You know, so again that high vibration, you know, affecting, like, in essence, even though it's again, because it's a high vibration, even though it's coming from a small amount of crystals, you know, again we are walking crystals, even though it's coming from a small amount of crystals, because it's a high vibration, it starts to overpower the bigger lower vibrational crystal, you know. But again, it all, you know, it all varies. You know, in that form, crystals emit their greatest effective radiation along their edges, you know. And that's why a lot of us, and two, you start to see that a lot of this crystal knowledge you've been intuitively dealing with, you know, like you probably done picked before you even knew anything about a third eye or you know how crystals work. You know, you probably took a crystal and you know took the point and put it right here. You know, I just kind of just like playing with the point of the crystal or the edges of the crystal. You know, because indirectly your like your soul subconscious like, oh, I remember the crystals and that energy come off of the edge of them too. You know, so that's another vibe to it. And blessings, y'all. I know I'm not looking down too much, but just a quick little shout out. Parts of Blue Angel, I get blessings. CK Nelson, blessings. Star Nubia, blessings. Jason White, blessings. Kiana Mitchell, blessings. What I consider selling a slab of crystal off of that big one. If it like broke on its own or something like that, yeah. Now something telling me like maybe I should try to open this one up. You know, because I feel like it might have more of the perfect points in it. But you know, and that's another thing too with breaking crystals. So bring that up. You know, it's all off of your intuition. You know, because like say for instance, like intuitively, something telling me like I'm doing too much by trying to you know break this. Like the energy of it, you know, it's at peace. Let's just say that being whole. You know, and I would be doing a disservice by breaking it up compared to this one where I just caught the you know and been kind of feeling like that, but just having a vibe with this one where I feel like it's okay to, you know, kind of crack it open as if, you know, some crystals inside, like, yeah, crack this open so we could, you know, be free. But again, you know, so like some people ask, you know, what if a crystal break? You know, does that mean bad luck or this and that? Like, it's all different situations. You might drop and break a crystal, you know, like I had this cathedral crystal. Matter of fact, this crystal was a part of that. You know, as a matter of fact, y'all probably remember it was like a piece of crystal quartz, a nice little small cluster with little points on it. But then one day, you know, the points ended up breaking while it was in my little pouch. You know, but when I you know had the crystals and handled them, the vibe I caught, you know, what the crystals told me was like basically, you know, it's time for us to separate. We want to go on our own little journeys, you know. I'm like, all right, word. So matter of fact, I handed those points, like the little points that came from off of them, which I got like more of the base part of it still. But like the actual points that come off of them, I handed them out to people, you know, because I knew, you know, the crystal was like, hey, you know, I broke off because I want to expand, you know, expand my energy out. I'm like, word, I'll help you do that. You know, I mean, crystals too, are like the consciousness of a crystal talking to you, simple as me, you know, walking down the street and have the urge to pick up, let's just say, even though it may not be a crystal, let's just show you how nature talks. So let's just put it like that, how nature may talk to us, and just how you know, this all consciousness. But like you walking in a, might just catch the urge to pick up a rock and throw it somewhere else. But literally, like you help that rock travel, like that rock wanted to get to another little spot, so it kind of like ooh, you know, pulled you in. And you thinking, oh, I just caught the strength urge to pick up this rock and throw it. But it's like you know, it's also because the energy of that rock influence you to help it move, you know. But again, with this crystal breaking, and that's why I knew that I could share those pieces of crystals with people because I knew that it had you know broken for expand. It wanted to you know expand outwardly, you know. So again, like what's a very important thing, and that's why it's always about you know your diet, meditation, and getting to getting to know your own inner guidance, you know, because a lot of this is just going with the flow of your inner guidance, what you feel, you know, because that's your soul and the spirit of the crystal letting you know what's cool and what's not. You know what I'm saying? So again, when you being guided by your intuition indirectly, you're gonna flow in a place that's you know beneficial with dealing with the crystals. So again, you know the crystals emit their greatest effective radiation along the edges and the tip being a great radiation point. So the tip of crystals or the edges of crystals, you know, have a more effective radiation. You know, the effectiveness of the radiation is much stronger. And you have the circle. You know, the circle, like I showed you that hematite. You know, matter of fact, the circle creates less of a directed energy, evenly spreading the radiation in all directions. You know, so with a you know, something that's tumbled, or like, well, more so the circle. Let's stay on the circle. You know, the perfect circle radiates the energy out, and say perfect, you know, perfect as it could be, radiates the energy outward evenly in all directions. So, you know, like, there's not a certain point on this, you know, circle that's going to emit energy more than another point. You know, like, it ain't no, I'm just putting just to show, but you know, because of that circular shape, you know, again, the energy is directed evenly out, you know, in all directions. Matter of fact. But and so let's see, crystals with facets tend to have a sharper, intense, directed energy. You know, matter of fact, in crystals with facets, you know, again, that's the, and matter of fact, with natural facets as well, like you got a crystal, again, like crystal quartz. You know, crystal quartz has a natural facet. Like crystal quartz naturally have that, you know, matter of fact, again, like this, see what that facet, you know, but this piece of citrine and this heat treated citrine, like the regular citrine, basically almost looks like smoky quartz in essence. You know, there's heat treated, and sometimes like some crystals could be heat treated naturally and unnaturally. You may have like, say for instance, smoky quartz or a certain crystal close to say for instance close to magma, like some magma movement underground, you know, so some hot lava magma under, you know, underneath the ground. I want to say lava, whatever, you know, the heat underneath the crust, you know, I think it's called magma after it comes out. But you know, some of these little you could say volcano veins or lava veins is passing close to certain crystals, and that heat is what's causing some of these crystals to transform before they even, you know, come out. Because even smoky quartz is kind of like a part of like some radioactive. They have like radioactive energies within smoky quartz, but not in a harmful type of manner. Like this dambarite, you know, dambarite has like more of a rhombic structure, which we're gonna get into the different structures as well. So again, the circles create, you know, a less directed energy spreading out in all directions. You know, the crystals that's faceted have a sharper, intense directed energy to them. You know, crystals that are rounded and tumbled have more of a gentle, harmonious vibration. In fact, that's why a lot of times, you know, when I'm just kind of looking to just calm my nerves, like that's why a lot of times it's a balance. I do like raw rose quartz, especially the big pieces that I was getting. But man, I love the way, you know, a tumble, like holding a tumble rose quartz. You know, like matter of fact, it's a tumble piece of rainforest jasper. So tumble is kind of like where it's not necessarily circular, but it's smoothed off. You know, like it's tumbled. You know, the tumble smoothed off the edges, and you know, but it has like this smooth feel to it, you know, just like a worry stone. You know, the worry stones are like these big, how they, I forgot what you call that, but they're like almost, not flat, but you know, it's kind of like an oval shaped crystal, and it's just perfect for like your thumb to like slide up and down on it. But that's creating a certain little soothing energy. So the shapes of crystals in that manner, because like sometimes I just want to deal with the energy of a crystal. So it's like, all right, like you want something that's pointy or natural. But then sometimes it's like I want to hold the crystal in my hand, like kind of like, matter of fact, just like we're dealing with these while doing like like how they have those big I say Chinese, but because I think it does come from most cases I've seen it dealing with like Oriental writing and stuff on it, like those little balls that you hold in your hand and move them around. In fact, I think about Boys in the Hood and Trey, the Lawrence Fishburne character. We had the two little balls in his hand and be moving them. But by having a smooth surface, like, again, touch, just like how we got aromatherapy, certain smells, make us feel a certain kind of way, touching, touching certain surfaces that have different, types of textures also makes us feel a certain way. I mean, even down to dealing with each other, as far as like, a man liking to touch on the smoothness of a woman or vice versa, to each his own, whoever feel out different from outside of that, but again, but that all has something, like the touch, the feel, but that goes into it as well. And depending on the person and the situation, that de- so like with picking what type of crystal you need, like and matter of fact, go check. I got the crystal vibrations playlist. So it's a playlist full. I got at least 90 videos that that discuss the different types of crystals and like stuff like piezoelectricity. I speak on the Metatronic shield, which I kind of end up speaking on if I go. But depending on the person and the situation, that dictates what type of crystal you need. If a faceted citrine is giving off an intense energy, you may need a tumbled one for a lighter. You may need a tumbled one or one of a lighter color. Because again, also that the energy does go with the color. That's why also you know you don't want to leave, say for instance, like a citrine or amethyst out in the sun too long because it could get sun bleach, and when it gets sun bleach, that kind of also kind of weakens the energy as well, because again the color itself is giving off a vibration too, so not just you know uh the elements in it that cause the color, but the color itself. So again, you may come across a faceted piece of citrine, but it may be too much of an intense energy for you, so you might have to get a tumble piece of citrine, because the energy will be more subtle, more gentle. Again, the tumble crystals are more gentle, more harmonious in their vibration. So definitely want to deal with that. And again, we're picking out your crystals on that level. No need to be dogmatic about the whole situation, like, because I done had myself and I done went through my days, so I could speak from a place of experience where it's like trying to just like micromanage, like in the essence of picking out my crystals, till I realize like, nah, just go with the flow, what I'm really truly vibing with, you know. And matter of fact, also being aware that that's when it comes into play with the abundance vibes, feeling the abundance within. Because sometimes it's meant for us to buy certain crystals, but our old programming of, oh, that costs too much for a crystal, or I'm trying to use that money somewhere else, that may try to block you from, relationships with certain crystals you meant to, have relationships with. There's a few times where I'm in the crystal shop and I really want this crystal, like I really want it, but it's like I don't I don't want to pay that right now because I want to say if I want to buy some herb, I want to make sure I get some herb in this too, and it's like, nah, bro, it's like what's beneficial for you right now, and what you looking at talking about, like I really love and want. It's like I'm looking at this crystal right now, I'm not looking at the herb, so it's like So go with what you're looking at and what you're vibing with right now in this moment. You know, uh, of course that don't mean where if you know that logically you're gonna step out of bounds financially with paying for a crystal, then of course not. Like like if you know that this money is the money to pay something off, and you feel the vibe that things may not be coming right back around right after you spend that, like so you know like all right, well damn, I'm not gonna you know uh spend my last, but again, going with the flow of like if a crystal is calling you out, it's calling you out for a reason. And at the end of the day though, what you gravitate towards will be the right one for you in that sense. Now, dealing with rough crystals tend to display the truest essence of the crystal because it's untampered with. Matter of fact, other than the effects of mining, because they had to mine it out of whatever the area it's in. Matter of fact, and speaking of mining, that's why I tell people like with lava stone, the reason why lava stones aren't expensive, for one, the lava is something that's, well, more so, I got the two in. Well, just I tell people the lava stone, isn't expensive more so too because they don't have to go in the ground and mine it, so it's easier to attain. Compared to like having to dig up a little area and go through each little rock that you dug through that area. That takes a lot of work. That's what I be telling the people with. When I have like certain specimens, like I had an Amazonite, like the Amazonite necklace I had recently posted, where it had nice pieces of mica inclusion. That's quality crit. Again, when something has the obvious qualities, and another thing too, what I be looking for, I like the uniqueness of crystals. I like crystals where they're normally said to be one way, but then I might see like a different inclusion or something. So say for instance like ruby and zoisite. Ruby and zoisite could sometimes have a kyanite in it. Now say for instance, so dealing with quality, again, uh, that would still be a quality ruby and zoisite, even though it has that extra inclusion. Again, it depends on, some crystals are, better, are more some crystals are of more quality when they have, more inclusions in it. Some, the quality goes down with inclusions, it all depends on what the inclusions are as well, but, again, like ruby and zoisite sometimes has blue kyanite in it. I remember my first one, I was going through it, and a lot of people mix these crystals up, ruby and zoisite and ruby and fuchsite. As a matter of fact, bam, I'm saying it wrong because of the wrong mix up. So it's ruby and fuchsite. The ruby and fuchsite sometimes has kyanite inclusions. So, uh, even though, again, with some crystals you want less inclusions, with some it's a beneficial thing to have more inclusions. So again, with that ruby and site having that little blue kyanite, around there added to the effectiveness of the crystal, because kyanite as matter of fact, the blue kyanite is claimed to just like citrine, it doesn't need any clearing, and it also aligns and balances the chakras fully. You know, like matter of fact, my brethren, which no regrets, but my brethren did kind of make me feel like damn, like I did have a unique piece of kyanite, and it's just seeing how people just be trying to play hardball. Like that piece of kyanite was nice, and I haven't really seen big pieces of kyanite like that. But everybody was trying to like when I was trying to sell it, everybody was trying to lowball me on it, in which a lot of it also has to deal with my subconscious programming. They lowballing me because I'm feeling like, cause well, more so once I saw that, how can I say that people only wanted to buy like would only pay a lot if it was like extremely the clearest quality, which it was a clear quality, but it did have like it still had the color. Matter of fact, because it looked like it came from a piece of hematite, so it still had like little red and kind of like dirt looking like inclusions on it to a certain extent. But I mean, nice big piece of carbonite. But anyway, enough of me reminiscing. It is what it is. But so again, back to rough crystals, they tend to display the truest essence of a crystal because it's untampered with. Other than the mining, of course they tamper with it to mine it out, but after that, it's untouched. You basically getting, matter of fact, like I love natural pieces of labradorite, you know, with this one you can't really see the different colors. The labradorite has that not chatoyancy. Chatoyancy is the name for like the like tiger's eye and cat's eye, like the little glimmer and sheen in there, like a selenite or ulexite. Ulexite is known as the TV stone. It looks something similar to selenite. And that's another thing too. Crystals, energies having to do with the characteristics of like what they look like or do, like dendritic, what it is, dendritic agate, you know, uh, connects with the brain because the little dendrites uh, within crystals kind of look like the neurons in our brain, so it helps with the brain function as well. Like, also crystals are made out of the same thing. Again, the little saying, from dust you came from and from dust you shall return. This little bodysuit is made out of earth stuff. Like, of course, we got because the earth has, what we may call, like stardust, because I mean, it's in space, quote unquote, just to, not get deep into it, but like it's in, how can I say, that's why there's no such thing in essence as I mean, yeah, there's extraterrestrial life, but I mean, this planet itself is made from, you know, uh, extraterrestrial elements in essence as well. So again, which I forgot what I was about to say, but like, oh yeah, like certain. So I think about a blue apatite. Blue apatite is basically made out of, what our bones is made out of. So it's gonna have a connection, you know, matter of fact, when we dealing with our bones, we dealing with structure of the body, and bones and the structure of the body is also dealt with by, the Capricorn and Saturn energy. So, it's also tapping into that energy. Matter of fact, and that's why also blue apatite is a good crystal to tap into the Akashic records with. And matter of fact, I got two videos and I just did one recently talking about, tapping into the Akashic, but with blue apatite, and then I think it's just regular obsidian, because I think I came across that video earlier. Just regular obsidian, because I was saying snowflake obsidian at one time. And I got a video talking about how this is like floor, like basically apatite is made out of the same stuff that a calcified pineal gland is made out of. So that whole little situation is an interesting situation within itself. But again, because it's connect. Matter of fact, and it's also good for talking to animals. I teach. No matter of fact, phosphate, fluorophosphate, in essence. Fluoro. Yeah, it's like fluorine. I know, like like fluorite, if I'm not mistaken. Not the crystal fluorite. It's like fluoro, like the fluoride, like how we talk about they put fluoride in the water to calcify pineal gland. Like, again, not only is made out of the phosphate or like which apatite might have calcium in it. I'm not sure. Let me see. Does it have? Yes, it does have calcium in it as well. So it has calcium and the phosphate and the basically like the fluoride in essence. So it's the elements and the chemical makeup is what give off the vibration. And again, natural crystals give off the the quality. You know, it displays the qualities of the crystal in its clearest manner. Because it's untampered with. Straight from nature. You know, Matter of fact, as above, so below. You know, before somebody starts to try to shape our subconscious and tell us how to dress, how to think, and how to do this, before anybody could do that, we are in our raw state. When we born, you know, it's just natural crystals. before before anybody come doing any mining, you know, and the whole vibe, is that raw crystal until it's tampered with. And again, and just like with our crystal being tampered with, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a horrible or bad thing, because we meant to go through experience. So if a crystal is tumbled, or there's like, oh, like, nah, ain't nothing, because there's no good or bad on this realm. We all got little experiences that we go through, and little pathways that we chose to go down. That we're choosing to go down, I should say. More so lessons that we chose to learn, but then we choose the way we want to, learn that lesson, in essence, how we go about it. In fact, blessings to y'all. I just been going in without looking up. Brandon Shetterly, blessings. Love Left, blessings. Uh, American Indian, blessings. Talia S, blessings. Yeah, Pyrite is a good one. Tony to Kill, blessing. The Herkimer Diamond with Moldavite is a good combination, but when we first starting off on our growth, we have this idea of, like, again, because I had it myself, where we so in lower vibrations that we feel like, all right, I gotta deal with the highest of the high vibrational crystals, ever, and which that is something that something that we should do, but and only it should do if you feeling the urge to, if you're gravitating towards crystals. But you also have to have grounding. The root chakra, like a tree grows from the root on up. Because one of my lessons I had to learn, in a more difficult way, was making sure that I'm grounded, at all times, to the best of my ability. Because of course, it's not gonna perfectly, like in the sense of perfect, like, where just all forever and ever my root chakra will stay grounded. Like, no, just like lifting weight, just like you're not gonna lift a weight one time and get a big ass muscle that's gonna stay perfect forever and ever. It's like, nah, you gotta do the workouts as well. But yeah, you definitely that combination's a high vibrational combination, so you want to make sure you got some type of grounding. Danielle Green, blessings. Heswick C, blessings. Marlon, what's up, my brother? So and then naturally grown crystals like quartz, tourmaline, or kunzite with a lengthy shaft. So again, what I mean by that, like a lengthy shaft, like, almost like you got a tube or something, but like crystals that have a certain length, more than width to them, you know. So these, all right. So these are comparisons of crystals with, with like a long shaft, so to speak, compared to like something without long shaft, like, tumbled, circular, you know. So say for instance, like how energy, within this one, again, like, because it has a shaft, energy could be shot out, through this crystal. It was said that the Egyptians, because it's a fact, you go look up somatics, how vibrations affect things. As a matter of fact, go check out Michael Tellinger. Michael Tellinger speak on, and he has a video where he shows how, he has a little spear sitting in a little, look like a little box, and he has just sound vibrations coming in from one way and another. And then I ain't say after so long, but then, as he turned them on, the little ball within that little box starts to levitate and starts to rotate, due to just off of the sound vibrations. And he's doing this in front of, like, in front of you, which he showed a video of it, but again, he doing it, showing you like, all right, this is us with our little, with all the little GMOs we eat and Wi-Fi fucking us up, and the fact that everybody's stressing out behind bullshit that we never even paid attention to or stressed out for before, with all these vibes going on, and we still able to show how sound could levitate things, then when our bodies, when we were in our vibration, what was close to the source, more in a higher consciousness, more connected. But long story short, that they would make they would have like little crystals they were holding in their hand, and they would push vibrations out of their hand, like almost like sound vibrations, and they would pick up and move the boulders with sound frequency. And also if you concentrate sound frequency, in a certain area, you could also cut through things. And they done made little X-Men or little superheroes and stuff like that, kind of indirectly speaking to how, sound could move things and cut through things, and that whole situation. And if the clown ass motherfuckers, and I'm saying clown ass, jokingly, but us in these times, that's more disconnected, and let's just say like throughout our more so our disconnected days, because we turning back on right now, but if we were able to find out these things in a disconnected stage and deal with it to a certain level disconnected, like, and make technology and all this, then of course we could get back to it on a higher level when we are connected, so there's that vibe as well. So again, the crystals with the long, like a quartz, tourmaline, or kunzite with the long shaft, have the ability to channel energy from the base to the tip. And also, check out my video on piezoelectricity. Because certain crystals are piezoelectric, with mostly quartz and tourmaline. Matter of fact, and I wrote down that even our bone. Matter of fact, because our bone kind of has, again, almost like, be real, which is another thing. Our bone, in essence, like this appetite again, and our bone structure and bone marrow is basically almost the same thing. And within our bones has piezoelectricity as well, and that also may be due to the DNA, because our DNA also is piezoelectric, and that's why crystal quartz works so good again with our energy and with our DNA, is because of that piezoelectricity, and piezoelectric, like how a DNA strand has that helical shape going up, that little helical shape, in essence, has something to do with the piezoelectricity. And matter of fact, piezoelectric meaning that these like crystal quartz and tourmaline, by you just holding them tight in your hand, putting a little pressure on them, or just tapping on them, like, actually creates, like, just the energy of you doing this creates piezoelectricity. And I speak on ways to test it and check it in that other video, but as I stated in that video, because it uses certain things that may not just be right in the house that we could go do and test it with, but I just shared it just in case some of us do want to attain these things to test the piezoelectricity. But also you got geodes. Geodes is like a cyst with crystals in it. Geodes are like those like the big, like, sometimes they could be this big, but it look like an enclosed rock, and it'll look like nothing when they're enclosed. But then, like, some of them will come where they like open, but like they have both halves, so you could still like close it up. But then when you crack it open, you'll see like a druze of different crystals. Druze mean like a bunch of like microcrystalline points, like, so when we talk about a druzy quartz or a druzy agate, because matter of fact, this carnelian has a little druze on it a little bit, but again, it's just like microcrystalline points, like a bunch of little small points on it. And druzes inside of a geode radiate very powerfully, great for bringing energy into an entire room, you know, because it's a bunch of little crystals, you know, energy coming together, you know, so it helps to spread that energy throughout the room. Matter of fact, again, compared to like, say for instance, I could have a geode, and then I could have a big piece of, I could have a big point, like a big crystal quartz point that's about this big, and that'd be a nice point, but like having a geode, you know, that's, say for instance, geode, I say about this big compared to that piece of quartz. A piece of geode this big with some nice, say for instance, it might be a amethyst geode, you know, with a bunch of little amethyst points, you know, coming out. And that's how you get those little amethyst clusters, you know, like the little small clusters that because it's broken from out of a geode, you know. But that geode would have a stronger, you know, effect on the whole entire room, like they say, because there's a bunch of small points compared to one big point that's kind of almost generating energy in a direct manner, you know, but again, it's not necessarily radiating outwardly as much as like a geode would because there's a bunch of little small crystals. And then you also have slices and sections, crystals that hide the beauty on the inside. In fact, like a gate in a tourmaline, not to be confused with mica or kyanite that tend to grow naturally into sheets or slice sections. You know, because like kyanite and matter of fact, kyanite is one of the few crystals. Maybe lepidolite might be like that too. You know, like different crystals have a certain hardness to it. You know, because matter of fact, diamond being the hardest, and I think ruby is right after that. But I know crystal quartz is at like a 7. You know, on the hardness, and that's another thing too. I know I did a video on that as well, but you could do like hardness tests to identify crystals as well. You know, you find out the hardness of different crystals, and so like, and it's always most cases using the crystal quartz, and if a crystal quartz could draw a line on whatever crystal it is, that mean that that crystal is not as hard as the quartz, so that mean it would be less than 7 in hardness compared to where if I scratched it and nothing showed up, where it would be either the same in hardness or higher, you know. So you also had that effect. But I was gonna say with kyanite, where you know the hardness varies on depending on like which side of the kyanite you're dealing with, because kyanite could be broken easily on the you could say the axis of its length. You know, like how that piece I had of kyanite, if like, so say if it was like this long, so if I was to slice it within that length, it would be like extremely easy to go along. Matter of fact, so basically slicing it going along with the grains, because it almost had like little grains in it. So if I sliced it along with the grains, it would be completely soft compared to like if I sliced it across the grains. So say for instance, if I slice the grains going like this and I slice it like this, it's gonna be easy. But with the grains going like this and I try to slice the kyanite like this, it's gonna be a little harder, you know. And mica, which is basically lepidolite, is like mica with lithium inclusions, you know. The mica is also like that too, like where you could, it'll probably be easier to break it, you know, going again going with the along the ways with the fibers compared to like trying to cut the fibers down the middle like that. But again, crystals that you know, the slices and sections, you know, crystals that hide the beauty on the inside. And you see a lot of agates, you know, like those sliced agates where you see around it, it look like a little geode, you know, and then you got the crystal inside. Matter of fact, and it also has that quality to it, like the energy that is going to give off is going to be dealing with bringing out inner beauty, you know. Like, so again, back to the actual makeup of a, like, so, and I say the makeup, even not even looking at the elements or the colors or none of that, just the way the crystal presents itself, the way the crystal is like you know, quote unquote brought into this world, or like born, you know what I'm saying, like how, like, and I'm trying to think like because it's a slow process in nature to make agate. That's why it has lines on it, because you know it has one sheet of say for microcrystalline quartz, or you know, and it varies because some of them have different types of forms. But then but again, all agates deal with, shaping over time. So because it was built over, shaping over time, it's when you working with it, it's gonna help you with, dealing with your energy gradually, working on yourself over time in essence, in that tortoise win the race type of mode, compared to, a phenokite or moldavite where his energy is like it electrocutes you. But the energy has to do with the physical attributes. So again, bringing out the inner beauty, just like again, like the crystal slices, where you would like just looking at the geode, you wouldn't have saw that beauty, but then you cut it open, you see the slice, and it's like, oh man, beauty being with within and not outside, and that's also as above, so below. You know, our beauty is not necessarily portrayed by how society sees the outwardly look of our bodysuit. It's more so about the energy that's within this walking crystal, this walking and talking crystal. You know, so you see the as above, so below aspects parallel in between as well, and just a little small aspect of agate. Agate dissolves internal issues and resisting external influences. So again, dissolving internal issues. We'll talk about the little agate slices where the beauty is on the inside, and agate helps to dissolve internal issues. And it also helps to resist external influences. Because in the geode, matter of fact, dang, this is one right here. I wish I could. I hope it could. But like, well, it's like a geode, but look inside of it. They got the beautiful agate inside of it. You know, but the geode again, like I say, agate helps to resist external influences. Ain't no external influences affecting the beauty of the inside of that geode. And therefore it also gives off that vibration as well. You know, exact correlation. Uh, Crystals and let's see. Oh, recognizing the energy of crystals as you're working with them. Crystals are rarely formed in a short period of time, and just like lifting weights or playing a musical instrument, it takes a little time for properties to truly be felt. You know, because after you lift up a weight one time, it's like you ain't gonna really see the effects of picking up a dumbbell one time. Or the first time you play a musical instrument, you're not going, first time you play the piano, you're not going to sound like Beethoven. You know, the first, it takes time for that energy, to build up to get to an effective place. So it may take a few weeks or months to obviously feel the effects of crystals, especially like again, like you got the 12 synergy crystals. Like those crystals for sure I know are like a matter of fact like a nirvana quartz as well. Like certain crystals of vibration are, again, extremely high to where it could be felt instantly. And that's back to the story of like, well, some crystals vibration so high, again, it could be smaller than another crystal and still be felt just as more, uh, than the next crystal. But again, it may take a few weeks to months to obviously feel the effects of some crystals. So, when you get in certain crystals, working with them to really feel or to obviously see the effects, it may take a few weeks to like a couple. I ain't say a couple months, but yeah, sometimes because it's gradually working on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because just like with any like with kicking a habit in a lot of cases, it's like certain habits we don't just like just completely throw them out the window. It's like a gradual step towards you know uh not doing that unhealthy habit anymore. But you definitely again it may take a few weeks or months, and it depends on what type of crystal. I pick up a piece of danbarite or petalite, matter of fact a phenokite, which phenokite is rarely like for somebody to have a phenokite this big, like that is an amazing specimen because phenokites don't come out. It's very rare to catch them in big specimens, and that's another thing to knowing, you know, like the quality of crystals and stuff like that is knowing about, again, doing your research and knowing about the crystals, because you may see a piece of phenokite this big and feel so say for instance they'll have it priced at something pretty reasonable, but to you it's like, wait, what the fuck are they charging that much for that crystal? But if you knew phenokite, you would know that, bro. Phenokite usually come, like most people sell phenokite, you ain't gonna get no bigger than this. Like the biggest pieces of phenokite you're gonna find in most places gonna be this big. Matter of fact, unless they the type that display crystals. I think about Mystic Journeys in LA, where they have all these different types of crystals. I'm pretty sure they might have a big ass piece of phenokite displayed. But again, and you can see that they rock hound and finding rare crystals on that level. But again, like if you came across a big piece of phenokite, like you would know, like, all right, damn, like that's so to pay a low price for a big piece of phenokite, you'd be winning because you have the knowledge. Like, yeah, phenokite normally don't even grow that big. Just like peridot, like the greenish, like a olivine greenish color. Let's see if I got it. Oh wait, it might be right there. Peridot. But it's like a green, almost look like this. This is not a picture of it. It's like this color green. But peridot, and I had a nice little piece of it, at one time. But it's very rare to find a big piece of peridot like that. But now we're gonna kind of get into the different like shapes and elements. First, we're gonna go into the different elements. Let's see. I'm not gonna read through them all, but I'm gonna just read through some of the main elements that mostly be in a lot of crystals. So say for instance like aluminum. Aluminum being certain crystals. Matter of fact, I think about kyanite was the first thing that came to mind. And aluminum crystals that's aluminum based seem like they have a certain little shimmer to them as well. Let me get into the different attributes. So aluminum on a physical level, aluminum promotes alkaline metabolic processes. In this way, it will help with all problems that arise through over acid conditions. For example, rheumatism and gout. And oh, man, I just like read. I'm not good. Like read when I done got so into go with the flow vibe with dealing with stuff so much. It'd be difficult for me to read. Aluminum promotes alkaline metabolic processes. In this way, it will help with all problems that arise through over acidic conditions and will decrease excessive acid formations in the stomach. Aluminum, so I guess it helps with acid reflux. Aluminum supports the absorption of iron in the intestine and normalizes conductivity in the nerves. In this way, it helps with symptoms of weakness, slow down perception, and even with paralysis. On a psychological and mental level, aluminum has a very calming effect on nervousness, fears, and feelings of guilt. A typical indicator is a feeling of impending madness. Aluminum encourages the facility to express feelings and to release behavior patterns of holding on to things and holding back. It also stimulates a desire for change and alteration. On a spiritual level, aluminum can help with the loss of identity, finding out again who we really are and what our task is in life. It encourages a sense of reality, soberness, and alertness at any given moment. Aluminum aids the recognition of the seductions of modern life as the illusions they are and helps us to deal with them, pointing out illusions. But again, so aluminum itself gives off this vibration, you know. So that means in any form or fashion, that aluminum comes in a certain crystal, you could basically say those energies are going to accompany it. Matter of fact, I went straight to kyanite because kyanite is one. Let's see. Come across something. Let's see. Chrysoberyl has aluminum. Different but it's a main crystal. Turquoise has aluminum in it. That's just a few that I came across. Sunstone have aluminum in it. Sunstone also has a nice amount of copper. Sodalite has aluminum in it. So just by having aluminum, so again, and that's why is much greater to have the knowledge of like what vibration the element give off, because therefore then I know that if somebody just tell me, this, not say just tell me, but like if I know the elements within a crystal, then I could know the vibration of it, or by finding it out, like if I know that satellite has sodium in it and aluminum in it, so I know that satellite. I'm like, oh, all right, it give off this vibration, because of and now that the colors as well as the molecular structure. So next we're going to speak on beryllium, which is a short one. Beryllium, physically, it helps with allergies, eczema, and ulcers. Also with rheumatic complaints and hormonal problems. On a psychological and mental level, beryllium encourages a far-seeing perspective and clear perception and concentration. Spiritually, beryllium helps to create goals and encourages discipline and consistency in attaining these goals. Now, beryllium, the families of beryls, the emeralds, the morganites, the what it is, aquamarines, like I said heliodor. If I didn't say heliodor, emerald, but these are all beryls, which comes from, get their basis from beryllium. Trying to see any beryls out there right quick that pop up. And also beryl, when looked at, when they forgot what's the name of this tool that they use to look at atomic, the way the atoms lined up in certain like crystals and certain things, basically where they could see, the atomic, not say the atomic structure, but well, you could say the atomic structure technically, but the way the atoms are lined up in most crystals, most beryls basically line up in a way that mimics the the flower of life, like a small, like the more so like the little small seed of life, but it still embodies that sacred geometry of that flower of life, and also again giving off that loving vibe. And think about emerald and morganite, then also goshenite is a beryllium as well, our beryl, and how it says it helps with clear perception and concentration. I did a video how this goshenite or goshenite is good for it's good for like dealing with truthful information, like it'll bring truthful information to the light. Now I'm a bismuth. A lot of people don't know that they're Pepto Bismol, and again, so this also points to why we don't have to take them poisonous ass drugs that these drug dealers, these killers and scrubs, trying to give everybody, and to the doctors I'm bullshitting, of course some of y'all may not really be knowing that y'all puppets in this little situation, just like how we spoke recently, like with some of the veterans fighting wars, like, well, matter of fact, and one of the brethren said, like, when people would tell him thank you for, thank you for your service. Like he would be like, he would let people know it's like, bro, I wasn't serving nothing, I was used, you know what I'm saying? Like, knowing. But because even down to so lepidolite, dealing with lithium, they put lithium, actual lithium and not to say nothing wrong with it, but they take the lithium and mix it with all kind of other little shit, you know what I'm saying? But uh lithium calms the nerves, and like they mostly use it though, like with bipolar disorder stuff, like any mental disorders. But just having a piece of lepidolite, helps with that energy because it's high in lithium. You know what I'm saying? So there's no need for you to having to go take these fake Abilify and all that old bullshit. That's just, again, like all that shit is some bullshit. You know, again, we have a certain anatomy. These crystals line up with the anatomy of my body. Because I have copper in me, I have iron in me. Matter of fact, just finished talking about like my phosphate. You know, as much as it's still baffling me about like how this made out of the calcified pineal gland stuff, but it's like what it is, the floral energy, and I gotta think of it, I think it's fluoride, like the fluoride that they put in the thing, but again, it has effect. But long story short, though, all these different crystals, have energies that's inside me. Like this carnelian is red because of the iron in it. My blood is red because of the iron that's in it. So it coincides with the naturalness of my body. Like all these different poisons that they be whipping up. That's not in my body. That's why it's always a extreme side effect where it's gonna freeze dry your liver. And your liver is the main thing that detoxifies your body. So that's and I ain't gonna lie, I'm not big up in them in that manner, but kudos to them to them doing their research, because that's smart. To where it's like, I'm gonna give you something that's said to fix you, and one of the places is gonna harm the most as soon as you start taking it is the part of your body that helps you detoxify. So here it is where like you taking it and it's weakening your liver, so you're gonna feel, and then two, it's lowering your vibration anyway, so you're gonna feel more and more of a need of like, but I need that, to keep, to keep myself healthy. That's the only thing that, you know, and you fall into that mind frame with it. But again, more so because now your liver not even detoxing your body as good as it should, so you're not feeling, your body not detoxing and cleaning out properly, so you fall more and more into that vibration of vibing with those prescription pills. And yeah, that is again, not trying this is, look, we in here playing a game. It is what it is, because we put these little, all this harmful stuff, it's just contrast for us to grow, you know what I'm saying? So we put those fucked up doctors in these places and all that, in essence, to be the contrast, that pressure to make a diamond. But that's crazy. And the reason why I started on that little rant, because bismuth, you know, which is also put in your Pepto Bismol, you know, root word bismuth. But bismuth on a physical level has a disinfectant and disinfectant and contracting properties, so it is used for injuries and healing of wounds. In its mineral form, it enhances the ability to regenerate the mucous membranes and is helpful with gastritis and stomach ulcers. Hmm. Physiological On a physiological and mental level, bismuth enhances a natural childlike lack of inhibition and a playful attitude towards life. It helps us accept our mortal existence when strong aversion to it exists, and there is a predominant feeling of being lonely and not really at home on this planet. Hmm. And matter of fact, that does like lower chakras, and it's no coincidence that bismuth or Pepto Bismol works on the stomach area or the solar plexus area. But again, that confident, which the root chakra more is dealing with the body, but like to a certain extent that you say, for instance, if you're not feeling at home in your body, then you're not gonna be confident. And confidence deal with that in just one aspect. confidence as far as the solar plexus, but you know, you just see that correlation with that stomach area, you know, in the lower chakras. Now, on the spiritual level, bismuth uh, helps us to take up again forms of spiritual development that had been abandoned owing to external circumstances and bring them to completion. So, you know, matter of fact, that's pretty cool. So, you know, we picked up that astrology book, you know, and went through a few pages and put it to the side and started working on something else. Or, you know, had this job that come through, or started working on something else, and you just kind of didn't get a chance to, you know, you, or not say you didn't get a chance, but you know, just things had you going everywhere else for some reason. That bismuth will help you, you know, get to that place of like all those places where you abandoned learning, you know, bringing you back to that place of like maybe you might want to, you know, go back to learning on this very strongly. You know. Let's see, next one. Just a heads up, y'all. This is gonna be, you know, a pretty long video. I plan to make this one of the somewhat of the videos of videos to a certain extent with my crystal videos. And I wanted to have as much information as possible. Uh, so the vibration of calcium. You know, matter of fact, blessings, y'all. I see y'all popping up, but again, I don't want to be thrown off. But after, matter of fact, dealing with anything I spoke on or whatever, I'll, you know, deal with the questions afterwards, dealing with the subject matter of what we talked about today. Uh, the calcium. On a physical level, calcium encourages the metabolism of the cells, absorption of nutrients by the cell membranes, and energy used in the cells. It is necessary for the formation of DNA, the carrier of genetic information, and RNA, the messenger that passes on information, on proteins, enzymes, and hormones. Now let's stop and show how our knowledge comes in circle, you know, 360 degrees, you know, not just have the knowledge. Well, I just sat in one class and just learned about one fucking thing for I don't know how many hours, you know. We just cleared something right quick and showed a connection. This the appetite, you know, connected to our bones, but the bones is also known to be piezoelectric. You remember when I was talking about piezoelectricity? I said the bones are known for being piezoelectric, and even without me remembering that you know, this part about the calcium, you know, maybe Spirit knew it was just, well, of course, Spirit knew it was, but you know, I spoke on the bones, you know, being piezoelectric, and I brought up like, hey, you know, it might be possible that it's due to the DNA, you know. Then I get to, you know, calcium, and calcium, you know, that's why calcium is so good for our bones, you know, because our bones have, you know, the calcium in it, you know, soaking up the nutrients. So it's no coincidence that calcium is again, it is necessary for the formation of DNA and RNA. You know, so we see how the lesson come in full circle, you know, and again, seeing that, again, just the straight up elements. It's calcium. This don't say plahydroxide or, claritin or abilify or codeine or Xanax, or, you know, they have all this harmful. No, this is straight source, you know. And that's why the fruits and the vegetables is better for our diet, because it's not tampered with. Just like how we talk about these crystals that give off a stronger energy without it being tampered with, as above, so below. That goes for us, that goes for the food we eat, you know, all that. You know what I'm saying? When it gets tampered with, that mess with the energy and mess with the vibration of it, you know. Back to calcium. Calcium supports the growth, firmness, and flexibility of bones, teeth, and tissue. It is important for the regulation of the acid-alkali balance and encourages the elimination of fluid, basically the fluid, the antagonist of sodium. It supports it supports blood clotting, the antagonist of magnesium, in which, as I'm saying this, I have to, matter of fact, I might go just look up sodium and magnesium since I brought up that within this. But finally, calcium is important for the formation of transmitter substances in the sensory system, from nerves to organs or muscles. It regulates the heart rhythm and strengthens the heart. On a psychological mental level, calcium encourages receptivity discrimination and memory, you know. And when we talk about discrimination, again, that's why you realize, again, discernment, like all that, I don't see color, and the New Age movement got me blind, and I can't see how I work on I can't see color, but I work on my chakras and deal with crystals. Get the fuck out of here. I digress. I love y'all. I love y'all. You just being, we all, look, you know, it's all a part of the growth. Some of us probably, you know, were taught, you know, got mixed in the new age thing. Like how I kind of almost went blind from it, you know. But anyway, what was that? Oh, and that's why I was speaking of discrimination with discernment, like, you know, because discernment and discrimination meaning, like, no, like, use discernment. That person vibration seem like it's trying to harm me. Use that discernment, discrimination, like, well, no, I don't want to deal with that energy because that energy is trying to harm me, you know. Like, it's not discrimination as far as like hating somebody and hanging somebody from a tree or feeding their children to alligators and shit like that. You know, it's not that type of discrimination. But I digress. It has an emotional stabilizing effect, lends self confidence, and helps to eliminate fear, particularly of accidents and illness. Calcium gives inner drive in cases of lethargy and clears up confusion. Spiritually, calcium regulates the development of the personality. It speeds up a development that is slowing down and normalizes situations where developmental processes have become over accelerated and chaotic. Calcium promotes mental growth. So we'll have that. Can't pass this one up. Of course, the copper, and I done spoke on this one more than one, but it's going in this video as well. On the physical level, on the physical level, copper promotes absorption of iron in the small intestines and triggers the transformation of stored iron into a form that can be transported by the blood. It is a catalyst in the formation of hemoglobin and is responsible for the formation of enzymes that keep the blood vessels elastic. Copper promotes the development of the female sexual organs and helps with menstrual problems. Copper promotes cell growth, cell respiration, and pigmentation of hair and skin. You know, the pigmentation, I did a video speaking on copper's relationship with melanin. Go check that out. Get into covalite, chrysocolla, you know, turquoise, azurite. Like, it's a big family of different crystal that copper based in essence. And even though copper based, that's not the actual crystal system. Because say for instance, like copper is not a crystal system in the essence of, like, say for instance, malachite comes from the carbonate family. You know, there's certain carbonate crystals. The greatest concentrations of copper are in the liver, brain, and blood, and it stimulates all their activities. Copper is effective in lowering temperature and loosening cramps. It is anti-inflammatory and detoxifying. On the psychological and mental level, copper increases dream activity and promotes the inner world of pictures and imagination and the creative potential resulting from it. Copper helps develop creative imagination and dissolves confusion, and it creates neutrality and a balancing of mood, and also promotes free expression of feelings. Definitely with its connection to turquoise, free expression of feelings, definitely. Copper makes it possible to live out and enjoy the senses and sexuality. Copper encourages a sense, on a spiritual level, copper encourages a sense of aesthetics and beauty, as well as development of a spiritual culture. It fortifies a sense of justice and promotes friendship and love towards all beings. Now, matter of fact, you know, copper deals with the Venus energy. You know, and the Venus, you know, deals with that feminine energy. You know, that's why it's, you know, good for a lot of different things. The female sexual organs, you know, the menstrual, you know, cycles as well. And again, we see all these different you know, common correlations within spirituality dealing with, you know, the crystals. what they're made out of, and then also certain gods and planets and stuff like this. How they all correlate. But oh, this is a good one. Most people, even myself, tend to forget about the aspects of this. Talk about gold, because gold, I tell people gold and diamonds is sought after not because of oh, just it looks so pretty, like nah, it's deeper than that. Because even a diamond is pressurized carbon. A diamond is pressurized shungite. You could say like shungite vibrating at a high frequency in essence. As you could look at diamonds like that. And again, you look at the correlation of carbon and the melanin and pressure making the diamond, and how as us, as above, so below us, as beings, walking, talking carbon that's wanting to become the stars that they truly are, you know what I'm saying? But we put these little lessons in front of us to learn, which is aka pressure, different little pressures, our life experiences that, if we are resilient through going through it, because again, that in order for that, carbon to become a diamond, it has to be able to handle that pressure, you know. So if you're resilient enough to handle that pressure, then you could become that diamond, on that next level. So gold on the physical level promotes the distribution of energy and vitality in the body. It is warming and promotes a full functioning circulation. It helps with problems and diseases of the sexual organs, generally supports the function of the glands, and helps heal damage to bones and tissues. Gold regulates the conduction of impulses in the nervous system. On a psychological and mental level, gold helps us out of depression, fear of death, and in severe cases, inclination to commit suicide. It confers self-confidence and self-consciousness and releases us from destructive influences. Gold brings our innermost core, and again, when we're talking about gold too, the solar plexus energy, tribe of the Lion of Judah, the gold. Like think about steel post sitting on the throne of gold. The gold. And that's why, a lot of when you think about ancient Kush and later Ethiopia, and how the ancient beings within the within Africa, dealt with gold on a high level, and how gold kind of coincided with royalty, because as you wear that gold, that's bringing in, that's cleaning out your system. Again, this is all working on us on a medicinal level, in essence. So it's creating a certain vibration. And also, I got to stop while I'm speaking on this as well. And again, we're dealing with certain crystals, you know, like how some people, they be like, oh, I need a crystal to protect me from negativity. It's not, that actual crystal is not necessarily, putting up a force field around you just by you having it. That crystal is working with your inner energies, because the reason why you feel like so many people are attacking you on a negative level or whatever the case may be, because well, not maybe, because one of your chakras, in most cases the root chakra, isn't grounded, it isn't balanced. So, you kind of fearful of things outside of you affecting you, forgetting that you are the person who creates the external situations. So again, I be telling people it's not necessarily protecting you from negativity as much as it's grounding, is helping your root chakra and allowing for you to be in a vibration that doesn't attract that negativity. You know, it's not putting up no little invisible force field around you per se. Even with shungite, like shungite does work on the aura where it actually pushes the aura out even further, but it's more so the connection that it aligns our chakras in a certain way, and grounds us in a certain way that allows for that expansion of protection to come upon us. So on a spiritual level, gold brings our innermost core, our essence to light. It helps give meaning to life and enables the realization of great deeds and projects. Gold represents generosity and magnanimity. Matter of fact, and that's why gold, Lapis lazuli. Matter of fact, don't forget to check out my video about the Metatronic shield. You know, where it's like wearing two copper bracelets, wearing a copper bracelet on each wrist. You know, wearing lapis lazuli around your neck, and lapis lazuli, and what else it is? I know it's a little more. Oh, and it's a single refracted ring on one hand, and a double refracted. Oh wait, double refract. No, yeah, the single refracted crystal on the left hand and the double refracted crystal on the right hand. And what double refracted? So basically, the only crystals that are singly refracted are spinel, garnet, and diamond. So spinel or spinel, garnet, and diamond should be like the only types of ring that you should have on your left hand. And then on the right hand, it could be any crystal, that you want. Right now, I'm not fully well wearing my Metatronic shield right now, but and there's something too, because again, we're working with these crystals. You know, they helping with our energies and stuff like that. But we also don't want to get lost in the sauce of feeling like these crystals, like like I can't do without the crystals. All these crystals, giving crystals more power than yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you are the crystal. You know, don't forget that. You know? But that lapis is definitely a great crystal. I saw a little thing. Yeah, I know about that. That lapis is definitely important. But also let's see. So next we speak on iron. Iron. Physically, iron promotes the absorption of iron through the intestines as well as the formation of hemoglobin, which you look at hemoglobin, it's like hematite, hemoglobin. As a matter of fact, things that's red, I don't know if you can see it in my little Super 7, the little red at the tip, that has to deal with iron. So, physically, iron promotes the absorption of iron through the intestines, as well as the formation of hemoglobin and red blood cell corpuscles. This ensures transportation of oxygen to the cells of the muscles and organs, good energy transfer, and physical vitality. Because again, the reason why we're able to work out, is because you got that oxygen, being pumped through the body. That's why, matter of fact, it's so important. Like when we do less reps, when we're working out, when we're breathing correctly, we're able to do more push-ups, more reps, because we're bringing in that oxygen in a certain type of manner that's, again, uh, helping the oxygen getting to the red blood cells, and that's giving vitality to to the muscles to be able to work out, compared to with a lack of oxygen, and it doesn't have that energy in essence. But it helps in cases of weakness, tiredness, and exhaustion. The functions of the liver, spleen, intestines, and bone marrow are stimulated by iron. In addition, it fortifies the immune system in silicone compounds, mainly specifically in oxides, specifically the immune response. Psychologically and mentally, iron has a stimulating, activating effect and encourages activity, initiative, dynamism, endurance, willpower, and the ability to assert ourselves and the ability to be enthusiastic about something. Iron promotes the warrior side of us, the urge to research and discover and to conquer. It also promotes a upright attitude and honesty. We don't mean conquer anybody or anything against its free will when we say conquer, because we just want to make sure some people might hear the word conquer, want to start a war somewhere. We ain't talking about that kind of conquer. Again, it also promotes an upright attitude and honesty. The reason why it promotes an upright attitude and honesty, a lot of times people fear telling people the truth. And that's a problem of the root chakra. I mean, of course, the throat and solar plexus as well, because they kind of coincide with each other in that essence. But, a lot of times, again, we're not upright in our attitude and honest because we fearing the reaction or You know, we don't want to feel, because matter of fact, as people who sensitive to energy, aka empaths, you know, we don't want to feel that energy of them feeling sad when we let them know the truth. You know, it's like, you know, it is what it is. You gotta be courageous, you know, and you know, fearless in that area. But that's where that comes from. On a spiritual level, iron promotes inner calm and makes us unchangeable. No, sorry. Iron promotes inner calm and makes us unchallengeable. See, dyslexic. I need to look up what crystal's good for being dyslexic or reading. It will purify consciousness of painful and unpleasant contents, give alertness, and deepens meditations. Iron also stimulates the mental processing of perceptions and experiences. Iron also stimulates the mental processing of perceptions and experiences and thereby helps to complete unfinished cycles. So, aspects of iron. Let's see, I'm going to go through a few more. And where we at? This video, again, it's going to be a long video, y'all. This is here for y'all to come back to and kind of, you know, again, we shouldn't depend on no YouTube video for all your knowledge, you know. But, you know, again, it does help to have these videos here too, you know, get some knowledge and see it from, you know, somebody's, you know, a different perspective in essence, you know. Because by seeing different perspectives, you know, because that's to a certain extent what a book is, you know, a lot of cases, it's people speaking on their, you know, experience, you know, with dealing with certain things, you know, whether it be with a crystal or a certain spiritual path or whatever the case may be, you know, and we learn through that process. So let's see. Let me go with let's see. I'm gonna go with lithium. I spoke on how they put lithium in the, you know, the little prescription pills, the little prescription poisons for like mental disorders and stuff like that. You know, it deals with lithium. On a physical level, lithium reduces blood pressure and dampens oversensitivity in nerves and the motor nervous system, thereby alleviating restlessness, trembling, and neural pains, for example, in sciatica or neuralgia. It reduces the cholesterol levels and helps to prevent disposition of plaques in the blood vessels and joints. In this way, lithium also helps with kidney disorders, rheumatism, and gout. Psychologically and mentally, lithium is generally has a generally calming effect. It is an effective antidepressant and improves the memory. It also encourages self-confidence, you know, effective antidepressant. Because a lot of times too, when I thought I was bipolar, becoming bipolar, matter of fact, I was going through the dark night of the soul whenever my grandmother transitioned and my pops transitioned, and I could tell, like, really I was, my mental state, just for lack of a better word, was again, these disorders don't exist in the way that, or you have bipolar disorder. No, it just means like that you're being polarized in your personality, but it's not a disorder in that manner. You know, it's just something not like a disease that you have to fix again with some type of medicine per se. This just comes with mental health, you know, mostly, you know. But again, like being manic depressive, you know, manic depression in essence kind of stems into bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, you know. So see how it helps in that essence. On a spiritual level, lithium promotes devotion and humility, acceptance of what is unalterable. So matter of fact, lithium helps with you know, with being at peace with the now, you know what I'm saying? And also it teaches us to be able to bend and give in and still remain true to ourselves, you know. Kind of like being a little, you know, flexible basically, you know, but still being true to ourselves. Let's see. Give off a few more. Something that ain't common. Let's go with oxygen. Oxygen, on a physical level, oxygen is the element that feeds all combustion processes in the body. It is therefore the energy supply in all cells, tissues, and organs. Oxygen is obtained. Matter of fact, speaking of combustion, you know, when a fire gets around more oxygen, like it rises. You know what I'm saying? That fire, and we talk about chi movement, you know, and chi in essence, when we look at that video I posted on my Instagram where the brethren used this chi to set the stuff on fire, you know, so that chi can bring, you know, heat, you know, combustion. And with our breath, that Shu, the god of air, that Yeshua, that Shu, that air, oxygen. Anyway, oxygen is obtained from the air via the lungs, transported in the blood, bound to iron and hemoglobin, and is finally released to the cells. In this way, oxygen is the prerequisite for all metabolic processes. On a psychological and mental level, oxygen supplies vitality and alertness, promotes creativity and the desires to turn ideas into reality. It mobilizes states of mood that have become rigid or frozen and provides the possibility for change. On a spiritual level, oxygen represents the life principle. It promotes joy in living and the ability to be creatively active. Oxygen ensures survival in the sense of continuous further developments towards optimal conditions. You know, survive for the oxygen. Now, where I want to get into now, different. As a matter of fact, you also, just to speak briefly too, you got different, you know, mineral classes. You know, so say for instance, you got the natural elements, you got the sulfides, you got halides, oxides, carbonates, sulfates, phosphates, and silicates. You know, and the silicates mostly got oxygen in it. And matter of fact, they all kind of like acidic, like carbonic acid, sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid, silica acid. Matter of fact, because to a certain extent, that's like opals. You know, the beautiful opals. Matter of fact, they have a high water content in them, in which water is present and oxygen is present. You know, has that connection as well. But then also, let's see, we're dealing with the names. We're looking more closely, we will also see that the non-metallic proportion of a mineral determines its basic quality, while the metallic portion produces individual variations. With all minerals that contain the same non-metallic proportion, we find common features as in a kind of relatedness. You know, matter of fact, so like the so say for instance, and I'm gonna get into that, using a rather free analogy from the human world, we can liken the non-metallic portion to the family name. So like the non-metallic, so like, you know, a crystal got like again a metallic, you know, in some cases, well, let's see. Yeah, that a lot of minerals have a non-metallic proportion to it and a metallic proportion to it. But it's the non-metallic proportion that actually gives it its name. Like, so like how our last names, like, oh, you a Haynes, or you or this and that, you or this and that, but our first name changes, you know. So basically our first name would be like the metallic part of us, and our last name is the non-metallic family we come from. So so metals in the mineral correspond to like the first name again. And I'm trying to think of like a certain element that displays that. Let's see. Can't find it right now, so I'm not gonna take too long looking for it. I mean, it's not meant. But again, that's how you get like the basic the basic names, you know, in essence, like the way the name lined up. And again, but I do want to find an example, at least one. But again, it's just like it's all right. But basically, I'm trying to think. So the crystal could be, let's just say, so non-metallic, because it say oxygen, you know, so that's a good vibe. So all these crystals could be related in a non-metallic vibe of them all having oxygen in it, but then on a metallic level, you know, that kind of changes, you know, their individuality, you know, like, yeah, I'm of this big family, you know, but my name is pyrite, you know, instead of hematite. So that's a good example, you know, because both, let's see, you know, hematite, you know, has the, so let's see, hematite is an oxide. So it's from, so again, so yeah, so from that, so like in essence, like the oxygen family. So like the oxygen is like the last name. I say like oxygen is the last name, but that's like the family, you know, it's like from the family of oxides, you know, but you know, his first name, you know, is hematite. And I say the name, but the first name is like iron, you know, or it's, you know, it has its, again, it's non-metallic family, you know, it's a non-metallic properties, which is like the family, you know, it belongs to. And then you got like the particular metal that's present, or the you know, the metallic material properties, that's like the first name, you know, because hematite, you know, is iron oxide. And then let's see, matter of fact, and just to show you, like a little picture of some raw pieces. They're both hematite. One like a little bubble formation. Apologies for the quality of the camera. That's one thing I'm gonna step up soon. And pyrite, in which now here, so with me trying to do something on the fly just now, you know, pyrite is not a part of the same family. You know, it's part of the sulfides. So let me see something else that's the oxide. And you also have mixed, like, say for instance, fire opal is mixed between an oxide and a silicate. You know, where is the oxide that I could compare? Oh, they got one somewhere, y'all. Because I want to have this, you know, at least as one comparison within this video. It's like all of them want to hide from me. Come on. Apologies for the wait, y'all. I'm just, I would really like to. And I know it's not the only oxide. It looks like it may be, y'all. At least that's obviously in my book showing itself to me. But I'll just use a small example. Because say for instance onyx is part of the oxide family, you know, and it has different metals in it, as far as it may have well, sometimes it has iron, but it also may have manganese as well. So so here it is. Well, again, they could be both like oxides of the same big family, but then in they so the non-metallic aspect of crystals is where the family they come from. But then whatever metal is present in it is like their first name, where it gets its individual kind of vibe from, in essence. Which in essence, like how again, like we all got the same last name, but our first name's different, and we individually kind of like act different. You know what I'm saying? Even though we from the same big family, you know. So it's like that correlation right there. And then just speaking on the different molecular structures, and then that's it. Do questions, but you have and basically crystal structures. You know, matter of fact, and the reason why there's not a lot of crystal literature on an ancient level, like as far as like when we think about Atlantis, Lemuria, and like from Kemet and beyond, like so past Kemet and not like not even when it was calling Egypt, or not even when it's calling Kemet Egypt, but like way before that. The reason why there's not a lot of literature on that because we were of a higher vibration to where again how I always explain to know that we are the walking crystals. You know, we were more of walking crystals that and had knowledge of it to where we didn't deal with minerals as much. You know, the minerals again was more so of a helper that come along the lines later, after we had fell, and then as things got into the whole of the Europeans, the ones trying to oppress, then again crystals became something like, oh, this has so much power because again it's something so powerful to disconnected people. But again, when we was in our higher vibe of consciousness, we never really dealt with crystals because I was getting to this point like the history of like how you get about like these different crystal shapes and structures. And let's see, little more than 300 years ago, in 1669, the Danish naturalist Niels Stensen, known as Nicholas Steno, published some of the initial research concerning the mathematical regularity of crystals. You know, Stenson, matter of fact, reading straight from the book, Stenson had discovered that the angles between the surfaces of particular mineral, independently of their size, appearance, or location, are always the same. T formed the law of constant interfacial angles. And from this time on, it became clear that it was not random influences from the place of origin that gave a mineral its shape, but that there was some inherent property that would always cause the mineral to take on certain shapes. It was then discovered that a particular typical shape could often be a more reliable feature of a certain mineral than, for example, its rather variable color. Because yeah, like you just trying to identify crystals off of color. Matter of fact, I think the word appetite in Greek stands for like confusion or like trickery or something like that. I can't recall it right now, but because they thought just looking at the blue color, they thought it was some other crystal, and it kept fooling them and having them think it was some other crystal. So that's why they named it like appetite with the meaning again, meaning like something like confusion. I'm throwing you off. I can't remember, so don't quote me exactly. But again, so having to go deeper into the molecular structure, because again, just looking at colors, like somebody be like, oh, I got a yellow crystal. Shit, that could be Heliodor, citrine, shit, picture jasper look a little yellow, even though it's like a brownish yellow. It's like, you could be talking about yellow calcite, honey calcite. What you talking about? And then, so that's where it breaks down to like, well, say for instance, a citrine from the hexagonal family, and then another crystal from this family. So it gets us closer to you know, closer to that aspect. And so also, this presented the science of crystals with the presently accepted definition. So, a crystal is a solid body with a geometrically regular shape. The name crystal had originally been given to rock crystal, which the Greeks had christened crystallus, or ice, as they believed rock crystal was deep frozen water that could never melt again. This belief was still prevalent at the time of Niels Stenson. 4 years later, in 1673, the British scientist Robert Dahl first cast doubts on the belief. Nevertheless, scientists began to search enthusiastically for the laws governing the phenomenon of the crystal. It was to take another 100 years until a French schoolmaster, Rene Just High, published this theory on the structure of crystals in 1784. You know, but basically, with Nicholas Stinson kind of noticing the situation again, because a lot of people we know how, because it's something again, what's funny is if I feel it pop on to the mind and or if I feel it's a thought that will pop into people's minds, I'm going to discuss it because I'm pretty sure people, again, that's why I brought up before even saying this about like, because somebody would be like, well, what the indigenous literature, on crystals, where they got that, their vibes from, because in most cases, again, starting from the Moors, who, educated basically educated all the Europeans in essence. You know, you would think like, all right, they talking about like they discovered this. Didn't the Moorish people like? Shouldn't this be some Moorish people names or something like that? But again, it got to a certain point again where we wasn't dealing at the last of anything or with any speaking of it being like in Kemet and stuff like that is dealing with lapis lazuli. Lapis was a crystal used by the pharaohs. But you have the different crystal lattices, and basically, let's say for instance, also the realization brought everything closer to truth. The atoms and molecules are not themselves geometrically shaped as I assume. However, they are organized spatially in exact geometrical patterns, the so-called crystal lattice. So it's not the actual the molecules and atoms themselves are not placed in a certain geometric structure, but those atoms and molecules lined up in a certain geometric structure. Because again, the geometrical structure of a crystal gives off an energy as well. You have the different crystal lattices, and again, uh, see how the different little atoms line up. It's a bigger picture. In fact, this is one unit, and then this is that one unit being put, together. But it has a basic shape, a basic measurement, and again with certain geometries, it has it has certain angles. Excuse me. Again, give off a particular energy. And another reason why, you know, uh, these crystals, have these particular shapes. So, say for instance, the perfect order is explained by the fact that individual atoms and molecules of the minerals are packed together as closely as possible during their growth. This is partly because they are drawn together by strong electromagnetic forces, partly because pressure around them allows no space to be wasted. And you think back to the often extremely harsh conditions under the which the mineral is formed, too. These minerals is formed in compact situations. But a strictly ordered system will always offer a better use of space than a random muddle. So, see this example. You see different like these. You see different, like these different shapes, these 7 different shapes, allow for, again, things to be packed tightly without leaving no room. There's no little spaces in between, like as each shape on the side of each shape, like no little crack or crevice, like completely packed tight. So that basically is why they have that structure. And matter of fact, the only crystal lattices exist are those that have squares, hexagons, triangles, rectangles, rhombuses, parallelograms, and trapeziums as their basic structures. There are no other types. So those are the only types of crystal lattices. You know, and you have the cubic crystal system. Basically, that includes all crystals with a square inner structure. The word cubic is derived from the Latin cubus, hence our word cube. Cubic minerals often actually form cubes as crystals. For example, diamonds, fluorite, and pyrite. If you ever seen a pyrite, that's an actual cube. And you have octahedrons in essence fall into this as well. Diamond, fluorite, and magnetite. And then rhombic dodecahedrons, which is garnet and lapis lazuli. You got tetrahedrons, which is pyrite, zinc, and they got blende or sphalerite. And then you got the pentagon dodecahedron, which is pyrite and others. Because pyrite has multiple, and then you got the little different shapes of the cubic lifestyle right here. You got the hexagonal crystal system, includes all crystals with a hexagonal inner structure. The word hexagonal is derived from the Greek for six-sided body. Hexagonal minerals in the form of crystals will, as a rule, also form hexagonal pillars such as apatite, aquamarine, beryl, marganite, and emerald, which aquamarine, beryl, marganite, and emerald are all, basically within the beryl family. You know. But and that hexagonal. Yeah, see the hexagonal shape. And the hex, you look at the hexagonal shape, it also looks like a cube without the middle 3 lines in it. And kind of like, like a little Y, almost like a Y in the middle. And make it a cube. See how the images correlate. Now you have the trigonal system, includes all crystals with a triangular inner shape. The word trigonal is derived from the Greek trigon, triangle. And trigonal minerals have crystals in the form of trigonal pillars, like tourmaline, or hexagonal pillars, although the latter are not quite as regular as those formed in the hexagonal crystal system. For example, amethyst and rock crystals. Matter of fact, excuse me, let me reword that because that could mix everything up. So they're speaking on, like how they spoke on, let's say, so let's start again. Trigonal minerals have crystals in the form of trigonal pillars, which is tourmaline, or hexagonal pillars. Although the latter are not quite as regular as those formed in the hexagonal crystal system. Hexagonal, so these little examples are not dealing with trigonal, but the hexagonal crystal system, again, amethyst, rock crystal, which is crystal quartz, citrine, smoky quartz, ruby, sapphire, and tourmaline, and also in rhombohedral forms, calcite, dolomite, magnesite, and rhodochrosite. The inner trigonal structure is particularly beautiful and clearly visible in tourmaline slices that display triangular or trident-like color zones. In tourmalines, you notice like almost like a dambarite too sometimes, like how a crystal quartz has 6 facets. Sometimes the tourmaline will have like 3 facets on the top, like a little triangle. So that's also dealing with that. Trigonal system. Let's see. You have the tetragonal crystal system, includes all crystals with a rectangular inner structure. The word tetragonal is derived from the Greek tetragon, uh, meaning rectangle. Tetragonal minerals generally form crystals with rectangular pillars, sometimes with flat boundaries and sometimes with pyramidal points. Examples include apophyllite, rutile, and zircon. Matter of fact, and you can almost see like some of this apophyllite got that little pyramid type of shape to it. The orthorhombic crystal system includes all crystals with a rhombic inner structure. The word rhombic is derived from the Greek rhombus. Rhombic minerals form either rhombic crystals, for example, aragonite. It's aragonite. Matter of fact, an aragonite is also present in septarian, like the little brown parts, uh, like in between you got the yellow calcite, then you got the aragonite, and then you got like I don't want to say granite, not mistaken, but it's aragonite. So again, rhombic minerals form either rhombic crystals, for example, aragonite, or olivine, which is peridot, or topaz, but sometimes also hexagonal ones, as three rhombuses fitted together form a hexagon. So like an orthorhombic crystal could also kind of look like a hexagon crystal. That's why the trigonal crystal system brought that up as well, because it, could also be shaped to look like a hexagonal crystal as well. So this type of growth is quite aptly termed pseudo-hexagonal. An example is aragonite. Again, up here is the rhombic shapes. The wider faces to a certain extent. And let's see, we got three more, y'all. Three more. The monoclinic crystal system includes all crystals that have an inner structure in the shape of a parallelogram. The word monoclinic means approximately with an inclined angle. Greek mono meaning one, and then clinin or cline to incline or bend. In fact, you got the Klein bottle, that bottle that kind of got like the little structure like it's going inside out. Monoclinic crystals also display the crooked angle. It is most obvious in gypsum, that often has crooked crystals with clearly visible parallelogram shapes in this crystal form called selenite. Because gypsum is kind of like a selenite in essence. With monoclinic minerals include azurite, epidote, jade, kunzite, lepidolite, malachite, moonstone, and nephrite, which nephrite is another form of jade. You got jadeite, and then you got nephrite jade. These are mono. Right there. Let's see. Triclinic crystal system includes all crystals with the inner structure in the form of a trapezium. The term triclinic means the equivalent of with three inclined angles. Greek tri, three, and clinine, to incline or bend. There is nothing quite like crooked or bent triclinic crystals that have no right angles at all. The inner structure of this crystalline system is most clearly displayed in Amazonite crystals, which form the shape of two trapeziums joined together. Further triclinic minerals are distene, which is kyanite, because kyanite, known as distene, Disthene. You got labradorite, rhodonite, sunstone, and turquoise. It's the triclinic crystal system. And here you go at the top. clinic. And also you have the amorphous amorphous shape last and foremost, and this one is basically, you know, in essence, no rules. There seem to be no rules without exceptions. Sometimes conditions are so extraordinary that a mineral has no possibility of forming a crystalline structure. These minerals are called amorphous, Greek amorph, without shape, and they do not possess any kind of inner structure. The reasons for this lack of structure are to be found in their too rapid creation. For example, as in moldavite and obsidian, where there is no time for crystals to be formed, or because too many different substances are mingled together, as for example in amber and opal. You know, but like say for moldavite and obsidian, you know, obsidian is basically like magma flow that that was hot and then just got freeze dried by water right quick. So it's like it's under shock. You know, that's why, matter of fact, like again, like the way it teaches us our lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it could strongly show us our shadow self in a manner that, you know, I say put us in shock, but again, it's like that same way of it being made goes into the vibration it gives off. Matter of fact, and two, like if rapid creation also helps for rapid growth to a certain extent as well. You know, again dealing with moldavite, which comes from a you know, from an extraterrestrial meteorite. You know, and then that clash upon Earth, you know, has nothing but, you know, and that's why moldavite seemed like it got like little heat craters in it, like it had like some heat bubbles. You know, like if something, you know, like when you're balling something in the pot and it bubble, you know, say for you just froze that in motion and made it into a crystal, would have like little craters and all little bubbles in it. You know, you know, and that's the amorphous style. And again, in all these different crystals give off a different crystal formations give off a certain energy, which that area is too deep for me to you know, to get into right now, which I will do a video on it, but let's let this be the first half. Which though I should, I don't know, I should make this the strongest build as possible. And blessings, y'all. The timekeeper, Seller, Jackie, who else? Mursky, American Indian 2020, Conquer, yeah, that I brought up. Anonymous hip hopper. With the anonymous hip hopper, Diamonds, Garnet, and Spinal or Spinel, Spinel. And matter of fact, y'all, again, cause I can't I don't recall fully. Just check out my video. It's one of the first videos under my Crystal Vibrations playlist, and it talks about the Metatronic shield. You know, and it gets into it. But that's basically it. Just wanted to share some other things too, certain little crystals to deal with. I'm soon start answering questions that are asked. Trying to find my little crystal info. Oh, here we go. These are just some I might have spoke a little bit on some, but just some different little crystals that I kind of just caught, you know, in essence downloads about as far as like, you know, how good they will work together. Petalite and leopard skin jasper for finding your totem animal. Like after working with petalite and leopard skin, I realized, you know, with mine that it was the fox, the hawk, and the owl. Because a lot of times we'll have more than one. But, you know, and again, in these energies, just like energy, oh, owl/dragon that somebody did. And then too, I think that correlates when I talk about the ancestral realm and us, smoking connecting to like the fire or like that heat, like being in like in a star, or again all that dragon energy. But petalite, leopard skin jasper help to find your totem animal because both crystals are good for connectivity with our animal guides. But petalite and apatite good to balance the yin and yang energies, and family, feminine or masculine energies in general, and blue apatite. But petalite and blue apatite good for balancing yin and yang energies. Lepidocrocite, carnelian, and moonstone, and also with malachite, good for the PMS symptom relief for females, and also calms premenstrual depression. Lepidocrocite, carnelian, and moonstone, and malachite. Then lepidocrocite and rhodonite will be helping you to forgive yourself or others for past actions in order to move forward. It also aids in clearing. It also aids clear and loving. Listen. Oh, it also aids clear and loving communication while going through relationship problems. So lepidocrocite and rhodonite, lepidocrocite and labradorite, in which I got parentheses petalite, but aids in aids Reiki practitioners to direct energy flow to the right place in need of healing. Because Reiki energy is about directing energy, within a person's body. Of course, you're using your consciousness to move the energy within, you know, from within your body to heal a certain area within, somebody else. And that lepidocrocite, labradorite, and petalite helps to direct that energy flow a little more, to have a more conscious focus with directing your energy in essence. So that works for that. But that's just a few answer a few questions and then I'm out. Which stone for Reiki? Lepidocrocite, labradorite, and petalite. Some crystals do help to helps with HIV and cancer, but honestly, I put it like this, and I'm not sitting here like, cause they say, "Oh, you sitting here saying to go do this at home." I'm not telling you to, not to say that you dealing with any of those diseases. Not to say that it's something that you should be embarrassed about or anything. Which though, of course, society has in that vibe. But what I want to say, the we could heal anything with our minds. So let's just start right there. Like our minds could create whatever, again, we're programming our subconscious. Whatever we get our subconscious to believe that we are capable of, we will be capable of it. Point blank, period. You know, that's why I speak on like, yeah, we could, healthy diet, but I mean, a person, it's possible for somebody to eat battery acid and it not burn up on the inside of them because they have that much strength with their mind, manifesting things in this physical matrix. But as far as just a crystal to heal physical diseases, maybe shungite and bloodstone would be great in that area. But I wouldn't leave it just to that. I would want to get on the Dr. Sebi diet. Things of this nature. Let me see. But they do have crystals though that specialize in working on like HIV and cancer. I just don't have any uh in the mental at the moment. I'm kind of looking, but no, I don't see anything. But crystal scars. Oh, you say the crystal. All right, that's interesting. I never really knew that story. You know, as far as like the crystal skulls, actually was one of the things that triggered that energy. Oh, that's too broad, lucid. Lucid blind again. All right. Remember what I said in the middle of it. Anything relating to anything I discussed in this video, you know, questions that deal with, you know, crystals or again anything that you remember or recall that I talked about in this video, or if you haven't watched all this video, anything you know, dealing with like working with crystals in some type of form or fashion. But I mean, if you broadly asking what crystals to work with for anger, howlite is a howlite and rose quartz will work. But again, you got to do your at the again that it's you that got to do the work, your own inner work. Like it ain't no uh like this crystal gonna change me forever. I buy this crystal. Once I buy this crystal, and I'm just gonna spiritually grow. That's just like once I start eating vegetable, like just because you a vegan don't make you, you know what I'm saying, a spiritual person. Just because you eat meat don't make you not spiritual. You know, there's so many different vibes, but uh, again, just don't forget, don't let these crystals be like you know, like the vibe of like dependence on your spiritual growth. At the end of the day, there's certain energies that we gotta face and deal with ourselves. You know, the crystals just help. You know, and if the crystals are being dependent on in such a manner where the power within is neglected, then the crystals are more hindering for you than helpful because you take you don't turn the crystals into Jesus basically. You know, the crystal, again, I tell people like how the ego secretly, like the ego slick, like the ego, like, all right, yeah, I'm spiritual. I'll stop dealing with church and Jesus. But then, because that blueprint of the way you dealt with Jesus is still, you still haven't subconsciously worked that out. So you still kind of looking for something to replace, you know, that Jesus and like looking for something outside of you to just like how, oh, Jesus is gonna die on the cross and save all of us, so I ain't gotta do shit. Like, you know, it's like it takes in the work. And again, as I'm speaking to you, not saying that you know, think that spiritual work is that broad or anything, but again, just answering to the way you broadly asked it. Have no, I haven't looked into Vogel crystals. I mean, not deeply. I've kind of like, you know, my little spirit kind of like peeked at it once or twice. But what kind of drew me back away from Vogel crystals was just how I don't know how man made the faceting was. I just wasn't into that, you know. Uh, and again, spirit don't make no mistakes. You know, maybe it's something that you know that it isn't beneficial for me on my growth, and we all uniquely different. You know, but now I haven't dealt with the Vogel crystals. Matter of fact, that speaks back though to, you know, the different facets and stuff activate, you know, directing the energy much stronger. Oh yeah, I'm like that too, lucid blah. But again, you know, if you wanna a decent answer that could help, we gotta at least ask to the best of our abilities what we really, or just ask a question that you can ask. Cause like sometimes, like some people try to turn a live video into a personal consultation. It's like I've been doing this and this and that since I grew up. What's wrong with me? It's like, well, starting with the obvious fact that you chose to just turn this live video into a consultation. You know, we could start right there. Again, not talking to you, Lucid Blah, but again, it's like gotta, be kind of somewhat close to dealing with the energy we're dealing with. But Ola Jeanette Zombie. Any more crystal questions? Soon gonna be going. I'm kind of scrolling up to see if it's something I missed. Ooh, shungite numite is a good correlate. Matter of fact, shungite, numite, moldavite, shungite, numite, and moldavite. Well, those three for sure, because they're some of the most ancient crystals, and like if you want to tap into some primordial ancient information like that, shungite, numite, and moldavite is definitely a good little combo. Archangel Teratonin. You asked what crystal. This is what I mostly use, but I done used a bunch of different. Like I done went. Like that's another thing too. Like again, with my intuition vibe being strong, and you know, it's like a certain level of me starting to work with crystals and getting the vibe from actually just working with them. But it's not just all book information, but my latest learnings, because this goes in again deeper into the molecular structures. What what energy the colors give off. I mean, it got the LA go down to the periodic table and breaking down like how certain bond, like ionic bonds and stuff, like how all this affect the energy of the crystal. Like this is a great book to have when really busting down the information like this. You know, it gets into again like the different families, what energies the elements give off, like all that. Then I got this one. I forgot I had this one. This one was because this was out here in Louisiana. So when I came back down here, I got this from my sister house. This is by Judy Hall. But this book, this is kind of this is some old. I don't know. I like for information to be in my. This kind of again, it talks of his legendary power, and it's a little bit of his healing. It's more talk about it from a historical standpoint to a certain extent. I don't say historical, but again, like some of the most ancient artifacts were created from Bandit the Gate, included a 5,000-year-old Mesopotamian amulet inlaid with minute golden writing that called on the power of the planetary god Marduk or Jupiter to protect the wearer from evil. And oh, Marduk, I just talked about Marduk. My video about 11 and snakes on a plane. Marduk killing Tiamat, from the Mesopotamian or the Sumerian or Babylonian information. You got Leviathan from the Hebrew from the Bible. You got Typhon from dealing with Zeus and the Greek. But Marduk, it's like the Jupiter energy. But yeah, like this one kind of goes in again to like also like the chakra correspondence. Say for instance, if you got nothing, of course, this is a good little book. Oh, matter of fact, got it from Coyote Moon for 18.99. But yeah, that's a decent little book. Got a few little definitions in the back. Kundalini. Oh, I turn straight to that. Energy of creation. A subtle electromagnetic sexual. I'm gonna stop right there. Sexual. A subtle electromagnetic sexual and spiritual force that resides in the base of the spine, which, when activated, rises up through the central channel to reach cosmic consciousness. It creates orgasmic ecstasy in every cell of the body, infusing it with enlightenment. What? They talk about Stay away from sex. Stay away from sexual activity. Don't activate the bliss. That's why they try to make sex so tabooish and make it look so distasteful, you know. So you could have a subconscious programming of like when you picture sex, you can always picture it in the extremely distasteful, you know, nasty, despicable way that they present it, compared to the sensual, blissful, bringing your energy up type of way that it really could be done. But I digress. That's basically it, y'all. Queen Bee blessings. Not yet. I'm headed back to Cali. I'm either going no later than January. So I'll be in Cali by February for sure, for sure. But I'm vibing out here. Matter of fact, probably catch a little Bayou Classic in New Orleans this next week. Allow for the funds to build up. You know, uh, do some good videos. Stuff like that. And I'm headed back, going back to Cali. Crystal grids. Without getting deep into it, but just again, it's just a broad crystal grids. What about crystal grids? But like crystal grids, again, just like sacred geometry, even again, when we doing crystal grids, we are mimicking again as above, so below. We placing, so say for instance, like a crystal like pyrite. It has it has the shape like the cubic shape. So you could do a crystal grid that's in the shape of like a hexagon or like a cube, to manifest more of a grounding energy, or put some blue crystals, in the shape of the I forgot what shape is for air. I don't know if it's like the diamond shape or what, dealing with like the different elements, but like if you're trying to bring in more of a, an air element of communication, you would put the the crystals in the shape of the air. Again with the shape, we got the platonic solids. So whichever platonic solid shape resonates with air, and of course there are 3D shapes, but it has like a basic blueprint in essence, on a 2D level where you could shape it out on a level with a crystal grid. But it all depends on what you're making a crystal grid for. Like what I used to do. As a matter of fact, again, go check out my videos on crystal grid. I tell people my video is like a library, and I ain't do my old videos for nothing. That's being authentic in my reality. Because sometimes I still would be nice and over repeat some things like because it's just making redundancies. Like you made a strong video about that, speak on a little bit and fall back. But anyway, like just to give you an example of like when I would have people over to visit, if we talking about like people trying to find out like the connection to spirit, and how do I connect more with source or through spirit guides or this and that, like more on that subject matter, then I would have a bunch of blue crystals out and do a blue crystal grid, with some quartz, and have it like in the middle of the room, and where that energy could, affect everybody. And me personally, I do intuitive crystal grids. I just put crystals in the way that my, again, because a lot of times too we get and not to say, again, it's good to know different little crystal, because that's extra knowledge of seeing other different little vibes of how to make crystal grids. I'm not saying don't go look them up, but for myself, me personally on my growth and how I deal with them, I do them intuitively. And again, if it was building on the subject of like trying to have a higher connection, or just talking about esoteric and occult information in general, and I would have that. If we talking about some business, we trying to make some money moves, somebody coming to the crib to talk some money moving. I'm gonna have like, the green aventurine and the citrines out, with the quartz and the pyrites, to amplify the vibration of abundance, as we talking on this abundance, amplifying that energy within us, like it depends, again on what vibe, and knowing what vibe certain shapes give off, and in a lot of cases, most grids will have like either circular or cubic type of, like, basically like with anything, as above, so below, kind of have like the center nucleus and then spreads outwardly, because quartz points are very, in most places they sell quartz points for the low because they know people just picking up much of the small ones to do a nice little crystal grid, you know. But yeah, crystal grids are definitely great, and even gridding yourself, as far as like putting crystals on your own chakras. And again, I go deeper into it. Jackie, yeah, for the time being, I plan on making sure I get me a place to stay out there in LA, preferably on Venice Beach Boardwalk. I'm sorry, Lucid Blah. I don't want to go too off on this video with the question you're asking. But I mean, yeah, things are working out through, internally. If you having a problem with somebody outside of you, that because so if you have a problem with yourself being weak, like, I mean, I can't stand the fact that I'm weak, all this, then you're gonna manifest weak people are gonna come into your group and your circle because you're constantly focusing on how you don't like the weakness inside of you, so it manifests outside of you. But yeah, I don't want to go too deep. Matter of fact, you asking that question, like, that's testing my niceness, like my niceness and teaching mode. Like, all right, I gotta kind of cut the niceness short to make great content, but I'm not neglecting you. Argon generators are great for the environment as far as clearing out negativity. Bringing in like a fractality, you could say, into the air. Like that fractal energy, that golden mean ratio energy. That torus field spin. You know, but the argon generators are definitely good. Night wolf, a good crystal, one of the best crystals for astral travel. Matter of fact, apophyllite and cobalite, but apophyllite comes to mind first. Apophyllite definitely, like, you could remote view in a lot of things very clearly with apophyllite. Tori indigo, it depends on what type of vibe you're looking for to deal. What are you trying to do with your house? Are you trying to create an energetic grid for, like, for the inside of your house to have like a kind of like a little perimeter around it? Are you putting crystals outside for the Devic Kingdom to make the Devic Kingdom thrive? Like, it's different vibes, and I don't have any information on anything particular, but like, first thing that came to mind was shungite and green aventurine, amazonite. Think about green aventurine, being something that connects to nature and also protects against electromagnetic smog, like amazonite does, and shungite does that as well. And shungite, again, kind of creates like a protective energy. Again, I like shungite out of any crystal almost is like the only crystal that made, to a certain extent, have like a protective field. Like how I say, like, certain crystals, they don't necessarily, when people looking for a crystal to protect them from negativity, it's not necessarily putting up a force field as much as it's certifying or fortifying your root chakra and fortifying your chakra so that you want to attract that negativity. You know, but selenite is good for being around the house as well. And if you mean, and yeah, matter of fact, and I'm thinking around the house like you speaking outside, but inside the house, yeah, around the house, like in the corners of your houses, selenite, like selenite ones in every corner, because corners of the houses, like a 90-degree angle causes destructive wave interference, meaning waves clash and end up lowering each other's vibrations until there's no vibration, and then in essence causing negativity. That's why some of us as little kids might have saw, ghosts of certain little beings in the corner of the house. It's like because that negativity builds up in that corner. That's why it's good to sage the corners of your house and stuff. But definitely selenite ones. Yeah, rhodonite is good with dealing with like your emotional issues and basically like again that past like hindering habits and stuff that stop us from our spiritual growth. I think about snowflake obsidian. Snowflake obsidian would be good with rhodonite as well. Shaquan McDowell, peace, blessings. But yep, peace and abundance to all. Yep. A video on what lucid blah. A video on. I got multiple videos. Again, like that's the thing too, where I could help, uh, but like it's not my job to extremely like I do my best, but like to extremely micromanage, because that's a problem right there. Like a lot of people don't realize that the reason why they're not growing spiritually because they looking for somebody externally to make them help them every single step of the way. And it's like, well, then you're never going to be able to independently thrive in your spiritual being because you're constantly you know as if like some people act like they can't Google certain information. Like, you got to start somewhere. Like, because people don't realize nobody was sitting around coaching me. Like, I vibed off of videos and then I got to a place of meditate. And again, I speak on all this on a lot of my earlier videos. And again, I'm making playlists to help. So as much as I'm saying that, I know I got 1,000 videos and you got to go through them. But again, that's a part of the works. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't no like every time I had an idea, in which though you'll start to see though that it could be like that once you know that you manifest things. But like, well, every time I have an idea, I'll go in my house and then a book would just be floating in the air, lit up all golden, like, here's the golden information universal. Because then again, where would be the growth if we're not being challenged to actually go and get this information? You know what I'm saying? Because it's also showing our high self like we deserve it because we want it on a level where we will stop at nothing to get this information. You know what I'm saying? And make sure we understand it instead of just like feeling like we could just ask one person one question and get the broadness of a situation that we really need to sit down and study ourselves. You know, again, is helping people to become just as great as I am, not to become dependent on me. Like, I'm not here for you to depend on in the essence of like a shoulder to lean on every now and then. Got a shoulder to lean on me when you're not strong. But gotta do a little bit of our own little works. But man, that's about it, y'all. I don't want to, cause matter of fact, again, that's why I'm telling again, making sure I stay with that, like asking questions in a line of, mostly what, we talking about crystals. Cause when people come to watch a crystal video, and of course, like with all my videos, again, you got to be used to me. If you know me from watching my videos, I kind of tap into different things, no matter what the subject matter is fully. But again, like especially like with a long video, somebody sitting down, you know, they want to sit down and learn about crystals and not about, uh, all kind of other stuff that may be irrelevant. And when I say relevant as far as like to the main discussion, nothing is, all aspects. That's why it all comes together. Every aspect of our existence is relevant, even the parts of our existence that seem like is irrelevant in essence. Even the irrelevant is relevant. But that's basically it, y'all. Of course, like the video. If you like the information, definitely hit the like button. You know, if you want to show some support financially, got the PayPal donation link basically underneath mostly all my videos, definitely underneath this video. Uh, don't forget, if you're on social media, my Instagram name is Universal Frequencies, spelled exactly how this name on this YouTube channel is. And basically it. I feel grateful for y'all love and support. Much love and blessings to the domestic family. Much love and blessings to the international family. I appreciate y'all, because again, like, what it sounds so cliche, without y'all wouldn't be no me. But I mean, in essence, like if nobody was sitting down, of course, again, and there's a correlation because I have to be, I would have to be talking about something that people want to hear to attract people. But again, like if it wasn't for nobody, you know, sitting in it, like I wouldn't have no reason to be doing no video, nothing if nobody, be interested or watching or or commenting or interacting. It's like, well, shit, we'll do something else, or. So in essence, again, without it's a symbiotic relationship. But again, Daruk. All right, before I go, Darukpa Kunle, please explain what. All right, Drukpa Kunle, please explain what. And be honest with you, you asked me to please explain, but if it's something again, I'm about to end this video. Yeah, all right, it's taking too long. Gotta end this video, y'all. Peace. Happy now. Now is the No, I didn't. You just all right, yeah. Especially because I didn't explain in other videos, and when I explain stuff, I didn't say set is homosexuality. If you look at my videos, I would not say exactly that, just the way you said it. But again, like this is not about set homosexuality right now. It's about crystals, but because I like to tap into different information. I'll just say at the smallest level, uh, set is a primordial being. Go check out the 11 video. It's there for a reason. As a matter of fact, it's getting a lot of views for a reason as well. My latest video on 11 snakes on a plane. Go check out that video. And other videos that speak of Saturn and darkness and primordial mother energy. But and Again, well, I would just have to just me trying to be too nice and hold on to the situation. But let's just say, well, not really, because it's part of that wanting to help. But at the end of the day, just shortly, primordial energy, of source, you know, is a mother, like energy. So the fact that Set was depicted as a male god, but also being a true connection to the primordial mother energy. And again, so when I said the homosexual vibe, I said that Aleister Crowley and a few like people of that ilk took that Set energy and turned it into something almost like an excuse for them to amplify that energy. Like, oh yeah, it's cool because see, Set was like a homosexual. And like, nah, that again, these stories are allegories. So when Set, quote unquote, raped, did what he did to Horus, this is a talking about alchemical, relationships of energy, not an actual homosexual. So I'm stopping right there. But just go deeper. All right, y'all. Peace. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now. Peace, peace.